Hello and welcome to Rai Vision Reflections. I'm Satish Rai, and today we continue with the Global Girmit textbook video web series. In episode 3, I continue with the few myths, misinformation that the West have propagated over the last 400 years. I continue this series from my last series titled episode number 002. In this episode, I will continue my thoughts on how control of information and later education has always been controlled by the powers which have had control of the population. The same system still exists today, and education is used mainly for the convenience of the rich and powerful, with one recent exception: the arrival and the widespread use of digital media for information the last a decade or so has potential to change the world dramatically. Even when schools, colleges, and universities appeared, the knowledge imparted to the student was strictly controlled by the ruling class of every nation. Until recently, the education system restricted education to primary, secondary, college, and university level by design. The education system has been designed to prepare individuals for the labor market and not to gain knowledge to understand the history of the humans, animals, the earth, and the universe. There were a few lucky ones who had managed to gain some knowledge of these issues, either pursuing some social science studies or through other non-academic ways. Since the start of the global digital age a decade or so ago, for the first time in the known history of humans, information and knowledge is available to every human who have access to internet. As of April 2022, there were more than 5 billion internet users worldwide, which is 63.1% of the global population. Of this total, 4.7 billion, or 55% of the world's population, were social media users. It is estimated that approximately 70 zettabytes of data existed in the world by the end of 2021. In other words, we generate so much data every day that if it were written down in the form of books, and we could pile those books one on top of the another, we'd have enough to build a bridge to the moon and back. The truth today is that billions of people have access to enormous amount of information on almost all the subjects and matters, not only on this earth, universe, but also on the multiverse that we live in. There is another truth that exists today and has been in existence for several decades now. Unfortunately, the general public is consciously kept away from this knowledge by those who are in power or those who control those in power. This is global phenomena and is not going to let go of their stranglehold on the public anytime soon. Edward Hammond and Noam Chomsky have articulated well the propagandist role that is played by the media. The mass media serve as a system for communicating messages and symbols to the general population. They say it is their function to amuse, entertain, and inform, and to inculcate individuals with the values, beliefs, and codes of behavior that will integrate them into the institutional structure of the larger society. In a world of concentrated wealth and major conflicts of class interests, to fulfill these roles requires systemic propaganda. The bottom line is that the rich and powerful use many instruments to control the attention of the public and direct them in directions that keep them away from knowledge that can threaten the rich and powerful. This is another important subject and must be analyzed and communicated to the masses effectively so that they wake up from deep slumber that keeps them in perpetual state of ignorance of their exploitation by the rich and powerful. My intention here is not to provide a comprehensive narrative on the issues that I have decided to comment on below. My intention is to provide just enough factual material and my narrative on each for the readers to question the validities of the information that have been fed to the billions of public through the ages by the rich and powerful, or on behalf of the rich and powerful. I know there is a lot of information now available on this subject on digital media. Some of these materials support the existing narratives, and increasingly, some of the new materials provide alternative or counter narratives. My session is that the existing and prevailing narratives are based on what has been deemed as facts. These so-called facts are based on a few observations in tiny parts of the world, or are based on hugely debatable religious scriptures which are under scrutiny today. My interpretations of the historical material and the emerging information should not be taken as sacrosanct. I recognize that a huge amount of research still requires to be done in all the topics that I touch on in my works. Further evidence might provide counter narratives to my narratives, and I will change my narratives whenever that happens. Now I come to deconstruction of out of Africa theory. It does not take a lot to prove the hypocrisy of this theory. This is one of the versions of the out of Africa theory. The out of Africa hypothesis is a model for the origin and dispersal of modern humans. The hypothesis contends that humans evolved in East Africa, dispersing to populate the rest of the world from around 70,000 years ago, replacing rather than interbreeding with the archaic hominins that were resident outside of Africa. On the other hand, the Christmas theory states that creatism is the religious belief that nature and aspects such as universe, earth, life, and humans originated with the supernatural act of divine. These two popular narratives explaining the origins of humans on this earth is diametrically opposite to each other. The out of Africa theory is part of the evolution theory, and the second version is part of the creationist theory. One confidently believes that the humans have evolved from some other species over a long period of time, and the other also confidently believes that an unknown and unseen entity called God has created humans in a day or so. The evolutionists believe in out of the Africa theory on only a few factual evidence that the scientists have so far discovered under the few excavated sites in South Africa. The evolutionists believe in the out of Africa theory based on only a few factual evidence that the scientists have so far discovered hidden under a few excavated sites in Southeast Africa. It is not known if the sites were excavated by design or by accident. These sites form a minute part of the total land and sea areas of the earth. Logic compels us to conclude that further excavations may well reveal more and perhaps different results, which would render the out of East Africa theory wrong or inconclusive. One such excavation has recently been done in Morocco. Remains from the Morocco dated to 3050. Remains from Morocco dated to 315,000 years ago push back our species origin by 100,000 years, and they suggest we didn't evolve only in East Africa. Researchers say that they have found the oldest Homo sapiens remains on record in an improbable place, that is Morocco. Now there are two out of Africa migration theory. How many more such claims will be made, not only in Africa, but in many parts of the world? Now I come to the conclusion of episode 3, a short video, as I go along and discuss more of the issues that have affected our peoples for over 4,000 years. It still continues to affect us. And if it remains unchanged, it will continue to affect us in future, and it's going to affect our descendants for many, many hundreds, if not thousands of years from today. So tune in for more such information. If you like what I'm discussing here, please subscribe to my channel, and if you feel like it, share with others. So until the next episode, is goodbye from me, Satish Rai.